He's going to read excerpts from that book now. So please put your hands together for a great Waterford man and a great writer, Brian Kennedy.
Hello, Waterford! Just wanted to say that, feeling like a rock star. This is any pub you can get Jack Daniels at 9 o'clock in the morning is going to be savoured. Yeah, as we're saying, it's the book is called Character and Closures. It's about all the characters that we've had over the last 40 odd years in Waterford and the closures. Now, a lot of people will identify what I'm talking about here. 1979 was the worst year we had for strikes ever in this country. We had the banks were out, the bus were out for 6 months, the petrol, there was the shortage of petrol, the ESB. And it took Mr. Austin Deasy, now I'm not a blue shirt or anything like that now, but he stood up anyway. He just described Waterford's predicament at the time. So this is taken from an Oireachtas meeting in October 2nd, 1979. Austin Deasy said, the city has a population of 35,000. Today's unemployment register indicate there are 2,300 people there in receipt of benefit, which is one of the highest unemployment rates in the country, if not the highest. So I appeal to the Minister to do everything he can to help the city retain its existing industries which are working on short time or which are in financial difficulties. So basically, between 1973 and 1978, there was 18 closures in Waterford. Now, a lot of those closures will be familiar. I'll name a few of them here. You had the likes of the jute factory, which went in 1974. The flour mills, which went as well, the paper mills. And that basically is what the book is about. What I've done is, I've taken 10 main factories. The jute factory, the Munster chipboard, Denny's, John Mead's, Iron Foundry, the paper mills, the flour mills, Cherry Brewery, the Waterford Glass. The Waterford Glass nearly killed me. I needed about 3 bottles of Jack Daniels to get through that. And it's funny when you do a little bit of research, you come across some oddities. Now, people here probably will remember the dock strike, which I think went down from about 1977 to like 1984. It was a long strike. And this is just a segment from the book. One of the longest and most complex strikes of the 70s, early 80s would be the dock strike, proving extremely long and an ongoing problem in the city's history. There have been a number of strikes over a prolonged period. In 1973, casual dockers at the North Wharf would go on strike, claiming the board's 1973 rationalisation agreement had been breached. They'd accused the Waterford Harbour General Manager of M.F. Quinlan and the ATGW of going back on an undertaking to hand them the casual dockers. It went to the High Court, where a temporary injunction was granted by Mr. Justice McWilliam to the Harbour Commissioners restraining the picketing. But it got kind of strange because things never settled for a long time. In 1980 there would be another high-profile strike, this time over 3 weeks, but it got a bit stranger because casual dockers had mounted a picket claiming that they had been discriminated against. They also claimed that the regular dockers had collected the wages of 6 dead men and shared them out, their wage packets out between them. So, as you can see, you got a little bit strange, guys. Now, there's some lovely characters. The thing when I was doing the book and the characters was, well, you kind of need permission to put these characters into. Some of these people were dead, some of these were living. So I'm just going to name off a few of them. Skinny Fanning, does that mean anything here? Miller and Cashin, we kind of all know, I suppose. If you put in a search and put in the words Hurley and man using it in public, you'll get Martin Hunt. If you're from Polbury, Tommy the Whistler might be kind of known to a few of them. And we all have our unfortunate happenings in life, and people that are jinxed, and I call them a crow or a hex. So if you ever ran into Eddie Batch, you were fucked basically, to be honest with you. Many a coupon was crumbled up before it was finished when they came across Eddie in the bookies. There's something to do with you. There's another, unfortunately she's passed Carol Field, and Carol started off the Norris Minor up in, which was a great movement back in the early 80s, about 81, 82, which was for an alternative movement, but it gave an outlet for people to be in. And just a book I wrote about 4 years ago called Radio Blah Blah, and I included this quote from Louis Quinlan, and it certainly was a place you could express yourself. I remember one night we were putting a stage together for a gig there. We had statues of Prague, pigs' heads, stuffed animals, and items like welding goggles around the stage. It didn't matter to Carla, she was so supportive. I guess the inspiration came from Bowie or the Virgin Prunes. Either way, we were bringing a new dimension to the place. I remember Carol's dad, Bobby, coming out, taking a look at the stage, then me, and saying, Jesus, if there's a hell below, we're certainly going there. Hannah Mooney would be a bag woman as well, yeah. And Johnny Lyons, the women man, of course, everyone remembers him. Slightly, I had to put this in the book because when I was doing all the research, and you go across the, you open up the page and you go, what was in the court this week, and there's some funny stories. I'm just going to read out one or two. Motorists thought he had struck a cat. A County Waterford motorist who crashed into 2 parked cars subsequently denied to the Gardaí and claimed that it was a car he had struck. The story was told at Tallow Court, we won't name the person, who was done for dangerous driving. He was also charged with failing to stop after the accident and failing to report to the Gardaí. Superintendent, we won't name him, and the prosecutor said the car collided with a parked car on West Street, went across the road and struck another parked car. He drove on but was followed, and while he wasn't caught up with a certain amount of information was obtained, so they didn't get a hold of him. Superintendent English, I mentioned him, said that, should I? Superintendent Irish. Superintendent English said that later that night the Gardaí went on to Mr. Cashman, Jesus named him, Cashman home, and interviewed him about the matter. At first he denied all knowledge of it, but the Gardaí saw paint marks on the car which corresponded with the colour of the 2 cars behind him. The defendant said, was there any cat hairs? Because it was definitely a cat that I hit. And I go on, after a short plea, the person who was due to be married shortly, even though he said he had no money for the marriage, he was fined €20 for failing to stop, ordered to pay £5 expenses and endorsed the conviction on his driving licence. So that's the man that struck the cat. I don't want to read too many of these to keep you here. Let me see now. Oh, this is good, yeah. 190 people rushed from the pub. 190 people rushed out the door of a public house as the Garda sergeant raided the premises 40 minutes after closing time last Wednesday's Kilmacthomas Court told. Before the court charged with a breach of the licence, we can't say who it is and we can't say it's the Long Hall pub. Sergeant Hurley said that he entered the premises and said, oh, I've hit him! If I hit something there. I'm going out here with the handcuffs, I think. Said that he entered the premises at 10:40 and a big crowd of people rushed out. He counted 190, but he said he was on his own. Garda, fucking made me hang with sheep as an lamb here. Garda Connolly had to remain in the patrol car with the prisoner. He did not take any names. He spoke to the husband of the licensee farmer, who actually was a guard as well, actually, and referred to the fact that there had been a lot of people on the premises, to which he pretended, thank Christ, because because the county hurling final had been played in Dungarvan that day. Okay, this is again slightly off. You go through all these. We went to the microfilm in the Lady Lane. The library is fantastic. So and again, this is right at the back of the book. Contraceptives, a lively issue. If contraception, now someone doesn't understand, someone might be enlightening on this. If contraceptives were made available to single people in Ireland, then they would be Desmond excursions. Does that mean? I have no idea what that is. To venereal disease clinics in Dublin, rather than the occasional minibus that's going there, said Alderman William McGuinness of Kilkenny, father of 9. At yesterday's meeting, the South Eastern Health Board, Alderman McGuinness may not be aware that contraceptives are used around the world to actually prevent the contraction of sexually transmitted disease. Alderman McGuinness said the persons were going up to Dublin in minibuses now for a cleansing and sterilisation. He said he did not want sleazy characters moving into discos and other places that young people forget with pockets full of rubbers and selling them to the unfortunate population already bombarded with drinking drugs. The next section is headlined Irish and proud to be backward. Visitors from Europe say we are backward because contraceptives are not freely available here. He said we should be proud to be backward. He said if they don't come to here, and then they don't come at all. Alderman McGuinness said that he knew all about Soho, the Reaper ban, and other areas in Europe, and that people visiting there did not go topless. Councillor Michael O'Brien of Labour, Thomas said it was annoyed at Alderman McGuinness, who was giving the impression that he was older than he knew and that he was quite familiar with Soho. Councillor O'Brien said that he had lived within a stone's throw of Soho for 7 years and was not corrupted by contraceptives. Going back onto, I suppose, the serious point of it, most people remember the Factory League was a huge competition, took place about 40, 50 years. But I suppose a sad indictment of the times is that, looking at a piece I have here from 1982, and there was 126 teams in it, and the teams were obviously factories. So it took me time to go through it, and this is, again, I said 1983, of the 124 teams, there's only 4 industries or businesses in Waterford still around, and they're the Munster Express, Bosch and On, Sheridan Motors and ESB. So I suppose the Waterford Glass is one of the kind of people remember most. I don't know if anybody here ever working Clover Meats or whatever, but in doing the book, I know the glass strike was particularly nasty, and I worked myself in ABB, which should have been the old ACEC, so I know what it's like to be kind of chopped out. But the Clover Meats one, I think, was there's an awful lot of people sitting in Ferrybank that are sore over that. Of course, it never really should have closed. I mean, ABB should never have closed. The glass we kind of all know about. But Clover Meats, I think, was it was closed down because Mr. Green Meat came in and just took over from the place, and we won't mention any of that. But again, it was sore. What I think was great is that you look across the road to what's left now. I think it's the R&H Hall is the only one that's left of the buildings up there. But I talked to so many people in the flour mills that had spent so much time there that they couldn't bring it upon themselves to come down and actually look at the buildings being torn down. So I think that was kind of sad in that respect. What I would say to you is that the book launch is on the 25th. It's down in the Charlotte. It'll only be on sale in the book centre. If you're down there on the night, it's been sold for £10 or it's $12.99 otherwise. It's a book of all these wonderful characters that we have. The people that I've included in the book, the likes of Jenny Corcoran, Mara's in it as well, Ned Tobe and people like that, Davy Sutton, Nicky Cummins, and it's people from all kind of walks of life. It took a long time doing it, but as I said, I'm delighted with the progress of it. What I would say is, this is a book I wrote about 10 years ago, One Foot Over the Crossbar. That's not Jack Nicholson, that's me superimposed in front of him there. I have about 12 copies of it there. I'm just going to leave them up on the counter, and the web you can take it's there for free, like, you know what I mean. And I want to thank everybody for listening to me and the chance to have a chat here today, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of it. Thanks very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Kennedy.